So today I'm in my real home, much more home, and in this third part of Mind Over Matter, I just save to cut more and more videos in that I quoted before that are very helpful. Thus you can do it if you want for your own. I just hint them. Because at this stage, after we opened up at this first and second part, it is much more important to talk about the ultimate end goal of evolution, the ultimate goal of the purpose of life, of being. Because it is about to get in the mindset of awakening, to get the difference between illusion and reality, and realizing where we had been a victim to our beliefs, and how powerful our thoughts and subconscious beliefs are. So here we'll follow absolute best of what the channel The Immortality Process published. We already know this couple, and this will be in essence, one video is called How to Stop the Reincarnation-Cycle, and the other one is the world slowly transitioning to Breatharianism. But now we are at a stage that it is for everyone who hears this calling really relevant. Because it is about realizing the deepest voice within us and the deepest natural state that is light. And realize light can have two meanings, and both are true in this case. And we now go into light is light and also lightness in sense of not heavy. And for me, I absolutely resonate with this, because this is one-to-one what me was told and shown when I went now for years in hyperspace through ayahuasca, through connection, through DMT. I was literally shown that we are, ourselves are, the whole existence is immortal, that we do not need to die, that the body is a perpetuum mobile, that we can refresh and be never-ending without having to lose our bodies. Yeah, so what is happening and manifesting is really a huge shift. It is about manifesting these positive things, not only mentally and spiritually, but manifesting them into physical reality. And afterwards I want to add some really precious things more, but this will follow then. So first, get started to break up every limitation. Many people in the spiritual community are accepting the fact more and more that they are creating their own reality around them. And yet, for many, there is still a line they refuse to cross. And so, physical limitation is still thought of as inevitable and natural. But we, at the Immortality Process, go beyond all conceivable limits. Where there are no boundaries to what the mind is capable of creating, and where there is no stopping point. This is beyond simply attracting the car, the money, the house, or the friends you want. It is about becoming a master over this physical realm and breaking through all the illusions of negativity it presents, and understanding the cause of all our negative experiences. It is about becoming your full reality self. and breaking the cycles of survival, consumption, sleep, sickness, and death. How to stop the reincarnation cycle.
How to stop the reincarnation cycle.
To answer this question, first we really have to talk about why are we in the physical? Why did we enter it to begin with? And what is it really here for?
Remember why you are here.
We are our mind entering into our physical bodies, which we take on as projections of who we are. And so this physical body, it appears solid to us. It appears that way, and it appears as if it is making us. It appears as if it is making us do certain things. It's making us interact in certain ways and behave in certain ways. And that is the illusion of it. That's also the gift of it, because that's the challenge of it. So you are creating it. It seems like it's the other way around. It seems like the physical is creating us. It seems like when we look around at everything around us, that is controlling us, and that is affecting us more than we are really affecting it. But it's all energy. It's all energy. And it's taking on these forms. But this is what we are choosing. Everything around you is something that you have chosen to put there in your experience.
The first is so that they can have an experience where they engage with and are introduced to extremely low vibrations and beliefs that they could not otherwise experience.
It seems like it's coming to you, but really you have placed it there in your experience. You chose for that to manifest in that certain way on a deep level of yourself. You chose for it to be there in this certain way so that you can grow and you can have understanding.
And I want you to understand that everything that is on this earth's plane is an illusion. Everything that you experience here is an illusion.
And so we forget, we don't realize that our mind is actually controlling this whole thing. This whole operating vehicle, which seems solid, is really energy which is being controlled by my output. It's being controlled by my mind. And this isn't only on a conscious level. This is on a very, very deep subconscious level.
But when you believe that your thoughts cannot control certain things, your thoughts produce those very things to be out of your control. This is how powerful your thoughts are. That is how powerful your subconscious beliefs are.
So it is not only our conscious beliefs, but especially our underlying subconscious beliefs that create and manipulate everything around us. And they show us what we believe in. So what are you believing right now on a deep level? All you have to do is look around you and you will see all of the signs of exactly what you believe in on a deep level of yourself. What are you learning? What are you learning to remove?
Remember, you were sent into an illusion. Your job is to bring it into the real. Your job is to bring it back to the original frequency, back to the original blueprint.
So we are just at first learning what this place is like. We are learning how to incorporate that form into our consciousness, how to operate in it, how to maneuver it, and how to survive in it, and also emotionally and mentally how to survive in the current system that we enter into. So the environment around us, and we are learning how to deal with and how to handle these simpler things and these simpler tasks.
But the catch is, to be connected to everything. You must disconnect from the world around you and the programs that it operates from. And you must be alone with yourself. And that is why this world attempts to present that as such a fearful idea. Because it would break you free from the bondage of this world. And every lie you have been fed. To walk in your truth, you must question every truth that is presented to you.
What we're going to be talking to you about understanding and realizing is what we are here as souls in this physical experience to learn ultimately through all of these lifetimes that we are having here. What is it ultimately that we are trying to achieve and overcome?
What we're ultimately learning to master and overcome is negativity, and it's not just simple negativity like learning to transform your anxiety into calmness. It's also physical negativity, and it's to very high degrees, which means even sickness or aging or death, things like that. So just in general, it's about mastering negativity, but the more you become a master, in a sense, the more negativity you can master.
Because if you're alone with yourself, you will realize the ways in which you are programmed. And your programs will no longer gain energy from you. Because you will no longer listen to them. You interpret the fears of your thought forms as your own fears. And also you interpret their sadness as your own sadness.
So ultimately it's about mastering negativity, and like I said, the more of a master you become within this game that we're experiencing, you don't have to come back and do it over and over again. You have to learn to master it in a physical way. That's why we're coming here physically. And that's the hardest challenge, is to do it physically. And so that means all the negativity we especially experience physically would be truly beating this game and mastering that negativity. And like I said, that is aging, that is, death, that is having to eat, having to sleep. All these things are physical negativity that we experience. If you can transform mental and emotional negativity, then you can definitely transform physical. And it doesn't matter what kind of physical negativity it is. It doesn't matter if it's being sick. It doesn't matter if it's having pains. If it's any form of negativity, if it's dying, any form of negativity, you can transform it to positivity. You can remain youthful for as long as you want. That's positivity. And so that's really the whole point of being here, is everybody knows that it's about becoming more positive in a general sense on Earth. We're all striving to be more positive. But ultimately, it's also about reaching that to the point where you manifest that physically.
It is dawning on you. Allow it to manifest physically. As you rise your vibration, you're capable of more and more.
And when you manifest that physically, then you really hit it. Then you really hit home. Then the game, in a sense, is mastered by you. Then you win the game. You don't have to, it's not a game over and you have to come in and do it again. And you forget everything and you have to try and remember, how things work and what is real and what isn't, and master it again.
We write about humans who realized their potential. But you forget that that is your true essence. That is your true nature and what it means to be human.
So simply, the best way to stop the reincarnation cycle is to not die, is to master this life you came into and to end up doing whatever you want with it, whether that means go to another dimension or stay here or whatever you want to do, but master it.
And I want you to understand that no limitation is real. No limitation is real. No limitation is real. Limitation is a thought that is out of alignment with the God source inside of you.
Leave on your own terms, don't leave by aging and then having to die in the normal process that humans have given into. Leave on your own terms and leave it in an obvious way that you're creating for yourself.
To hear the reality, you must hear with new ears. Traveling deeper and further within yourself than you've ever been asked to go. Things must be uprooted, voices you have listened to, pictures you have clung to. Because they are heavy burdens that weigh you down. And you must remove those beliefs to become higher, to become lighter, and to ascend. Deeper and deeper, until you touch your deepest, most hidden self.
So ultimately, it's all about being who we really are. And some people might not like hearing the fact that, they could stay here forever, and so they don't even want to explore these things because they don't want to feel like they're trapped in a physical experience. But that's the thing, is that when you master, this life, when you master this negativity, you're not trapped. It's the opposite. That's the whole point of this, is that you become unlimited physically, which means you can end up doing whatever you want. If you want to become unphysical in a sense, again, you can do whatever you want. You can go to any dimension you want, you can see anyone you want. You're not trapped in the physical, you just mastered the physical, and then, whatever you want to do, you can do it. So some people actually think that, if you were to be here and you were to be immortal, that's actually almost like a limiting thing. You would be stuck in the physical. But that is not the case, because in order to be an immortal here, you would have to master limitations. So as an immortal, you would be unlimited. And that means, like I said, there's no trapping there. It's pure freedom. It's pure unlimitation.
And the reality is limitless. When the reality merges with the physical experience, we perceive an immortal and limitless physical body. What will you choose?
So you're actually doing what you ultimately intended to do by coming here, is to just fully be who you are, and who you are is unlimited power, and with that unlimited power you can have any experience you want.
It is recalling your true identity.
So winning the game is not just being who you are mentally, emotionally, but also physically. Being unlimited in all levels, and being positive on all levels of your being.
So, ending the reincarnation cycle of having to have a physical experience means that you have full self-realization in the midst of the physical experience. And it means that you know that you are not this experience, that you are not this body, to the point where who you are overwhelms that experience, and you can choose what your body will operate as. You can choose what your experience will be, and that is mastering the physical.
You are infinite. The whole earth is your body. Step into your reality.
Is the world slowly transitioning to Breatharianism? I think so. What about you, Wolf? You think so?
Definitely. You can see it very clearly in our society if you just examine really ultimately what we're experiencing, and you examine why, what we're ultimately all moving towards, then it will be very clear that ultimately that will be the end result for humanity. Think about it. We're in the physical. The physical is just a heavier version of a dream than the non-physical. They're both dreams. One is heavier, one is denser, one is slower, one is lower, one is higher, one is faster, one is quicker. And that's really the difference. Same energy, just slowed down. And that's why it's a challenge, because you have to rise out of this heaviness.
This planet Earth, as it operates around you now in your dimension, is extremely dense. That is just because some beliefs are heavier than others. And some thoughts and emotions are also heavier than others. And thoughts and emotions produce beliefs. Each dimension is as heavy or light as the beliefs contained with it.
What does Breatharianism represent? It represents you being lighter. It represents you being more on your own energy. When in reality, even when you're eating food, you're still living off your own energy. It's just this illusion that we're going through. It's impossible to actually be cut off from your own energy.
These beliefs keep you imprisoned within your own mind. It is never the third dimension that limits you. That would be impossible. Impossible according to every law of the universe. It is totally impossible for a dimension to limit a mind. It is only possible for a mind to limit a dimension.
So as you can see, everyone ultimately, that's why people feel so much better. They always say, I feel clear, I feel lighter. When they transition to a lighter diet, they feel better. And the reason that is because you're naturally light. Naturally, you really feel that lightness is your real state, is your most powerful high state, because it is. When you're heavy, you're low, you're slow. It's harder for you to create what you prefer, more consciously, more easily. The more you rise, the more you higher yourself, the more you can change everything more quickly in the way that you prefer. The more you lower yourself, the more slow it becomes, the harder it becomes for you to create what you consciously prefer. We really consider this place to just be a sludge challenge, which means you come down to earth and it's a challenge of transcending, of rising through heaviness. And the sludge is in such a way that everyone is in it when you come down to earth. Everyone is in the sludge. Everyone is in the heaviness. And the thing is, as you rise out, it's like all the sludge is just pulling you back down. It's like you can only get so high without feeling like all this momentum is bringing you back down. And it could be people, it could be food, it could be all these different things that just lower you and bring you back down to this heavy state where you're not as conscious of who you are and what you're capable of. And that's not a negative thing. That is why we came here, to have that challenge of rising, of going from low to high and mastering it, It's not easy. It's a challenge, and it's a challenge for a soul. Think about it. If you're God, this is the ultimate challenge for you. This is really hard, right? This is a really hard challenge. So that's something God would do. God would create a hard challenge. God doesn't want some easy challenge. God wants something that is going to be challenging for it. And God is so powerful, right? So therefore, He needs a really powerful challenge.
Don't limit your challenges. Challenge your limits. That is why it is so important that you are here. Do not try to leave here when it is not your time to go. Remain here until you naturally leave. Remain here until the earth takes your body, or until you ascend in a physical light body. and you do not experience pain in the same way anymore. There will come a time when love is all around you, and you will wonder at yourself for having felt so bad before.
That's even the reason why we sleep. It's not that sleep is for our bodies. Sleep is not for our bodies. Our bodies are just a victim, in a sense, to what we put them through. You know, what we choose, our bodies will just have to agree with and go by. So the only reason we sleep is because we need that light rejuvenation again by going back into a more light state, which is in the non-physical, which, like I said, is just a place where you are not limiting yourself so much. When our bodies are sleeping, which is really how it should be termed, not you, because in society we consider it to be the individual that is sleeping, the soul. But the soul never sleeps, ever. The soul is always aware, the soul is always awake. It can be aware to a little degree, it can be aware to a high degree, but it is always aware, and it is always doing something. And so, even over here, you can consider some people to be asleep while they're using their bodies awake. You know, so when someone is actually putting their body to sleep every single night, the reason is because they are in such a heavy state over here that they need that light rejuvenation. They need that almost soul breath. They need to take a soul breath because they're suffocating over here. Their soul is, in a sense. So that's another clear sign that ultimately who we are, what we really resonate with, is being in a light state. Now, if you look at all the ways that we eat, you know, eating meat, all these heavy foods, junk food, all these things that lower you, what do they also do to your mind, to your emotions? They cloud you. They make you feel low. They don't make you feel like you create your reality. They make you feel a victim to situations. They make you feel like you can react easily. They make you feel like you want to cry. They make you feel very low, heavy, and sluggish. And so, really, the key ultimately to being yourself, which we do believe Earth is in that transition of realizing who they are as humanity, the key for that is to transition, is to let go of more and more of what holds you down in the sludge. And all these diets that we're trained to eat are only diets that keep us in the sludge. When people are rising out of the sludge, you will see them letting go and moving out of all these diets that we're trained to eat, like I said, such as meat and all these heavy foods. And they will noticeably realize they are lighter, they are clearer, and they will noticeably take into an account that they feel more like themselves when they are lighter. So you can clearly see, even for me, I was very, very into weightlifting and eating tons and tons of meat and fish and all these things, you know, having milk, all these things that I really realized now lowered me a lot. You know, made me feel very heavy and made me feel like I was a victim to the physical, you know, not like I could master it. And so, but I slowly but surely, I was cutting out one thing at a time that felt heaviest. You know, let's say meat, right? I cut that out and I realized, wow, I feel so much better. I feel so much clearer. I feel so much more high, so much more, you know, in control of myself in a sense. I feel like I am not so easily affected by the negativity of those around me. And that was a huge bonus to me. So what did I do? I cut out the next heavy thing. And I cut out the next heavy thing. And I felt even more, you know, able to be untouched by negativity. I felt even better and better and better, clearer and lighter. And so it was really obvious to me that really ultimately all we're really moving towards in evolution is really where we came from, which is the non-physical, in a sense. We were, you know, in a very light, unlimited state there. But we have to come to the sludge, we have to come to the heaviness, and we have to rise out of it. We have to come to the heaviness and transcend it to lightness. That is the challenge, that is the purpose, that is the whole point. And you can clearly see that that is the evolution of what's happening on Earth, and that is what people are feeling better by doing.
And the thing is, even statistically, you can see more and more and more and more and more that people are naturally slowly transitioning to Breatharianism because of what they are constantly removing from their diets. More and more and more people are becoming vegan, are becoming vegetarian. There's over 16 billion people in the US, for instance, that are now vegan or vegetarian. And what this really is obviously everything is energy, so what this really is it's an energetic shift that's happening on the planet. That is what is happening. That's why so many people are awakening right now. It's not just transitioning to a breatharian diet, it's about getting lighter in every sense, in every possible way. More and more people are letting go of negative things. More and more people are coming to spiritual awakening. More and more people are meditating. More and more people are having contact with their guides, contact with ETs, and other spiritual, metaphysical encounters and experiences. And this is happening more and more and more on a regular basis, where being a medium or a healer is not really so uncommon anymore.
My mission here is to be who I am. No matter what the cost. I am the soul of a star seed.
You also have all of these star seeds coming in. We have all these indigo children, crystal children coming in. And one of the things that the Council for the Assistance to Earth specifically told me about my DNA, as a for instance, and this is as a crystal child, my crystal DNA. And I'm not saying necessarily it has to do with your path in this incarnation. So I'm not saying necessarily that every crystal child will activate this, but there is this DNA that is there that can help them snap out of lower things and transition to Breatharianism. And they spoke to me about this. This is in your DNA. If you're a crystal child, then this is what your DNA is naturally prone to do. And this is why so many crystal children experience extremely negative side effects for food. They thought I had Crohn's disease as a child, and it turned out to be food allergies, and I suffered for years with very, very, very chronic nausea and a lot of other stomach problems, and it was all simply due to diet. And I started learning, just like Wolf was saying, he cut out this, he cut out that, he cut out this. I cut out sodas, I cut out a lot of different processed foods. I started going more and more to organic. I cut out meat. Eventually I cut out milk. I cut out eggs. And this is because I was having all these horrible reactions. But the thing is about this DNA, about the crystal DNA, and also specifically our path, that our path is to become breatharian for starters. We simply find more and more that, you transition to a lighter diet, and for a while, yay, your body is feeling so much better and so much higher, and then it's like, okay, wait a minute, these foods that were fine for me this whole month, now they're feeling heavy all the time. Now I can't eat this anymore. And so it's this progression, it's this constant progression that leads more and more and more to liquiditarian, more and more to only water, and then immediate. And in other words, nothing, in the sense of nothing coming to you from outside of who you are. You don't need anything outside of you. You need nothing outside of you to sustain yourself and to sustain your living form, which is really energy. which is really energy, just like you are. And energy can be controlled, and it presents this boundary, but we know that really it is energy, and energy can be controlled with your thoughts, with your emotions. It can transition.
Limitation is not a belief you can allow to take root. It wishes to remove you from the part of you, that God source part of you, that is capable of anything. That all-powerful part of you. Don't be afraid of it. Let go your ego's fear.
And there is a lot of sludge, like he said, still on the planet. We see it all the time. There's a lot of bad shit happening, all over the world. Constantly you hear about it. Constantly you hear about so many bad, terrible things that are happening right now and being reflected back to us. Our beliefs being reflected back to us. And getting to beliefs, the thing is, people tend to really victimize themselves according to their beliefs. They feel a victim to their beliefs. They feel like their beliefs are true. And really, these beliefs, any belief that mods you down, any belief that says there's a barrier, the physical is a barrier, and there's this no-go zone as far as what's possible for you, all of these are illusions.
I am not affected by any lie or any voice which tells me that I am limited in any way. I will not listen to those voices which tell me that I am incapable of miracles, or that I am unable to do something that goes beyond physical boundaries.
About this concept of to break this cycle of having to reincarnate over and over, you have to master the physical. And some people are like, wow, this is my favorite video, this is awesome, I can do it. Other people react like, I can't do that, it's impossible for anybody to do that, which means that you cannot possibly break out of the incarnation cycle in the way that you are saying. And so I'm going to be really negative about this. And basically they start listing all these things that they experienced and they know they're true and they were a victim to them. So they are a victim to their body's negative state, and they do not at all believe that they can transition the negative state with their mind. And this is another thing going around all the time. You hear about with the reincarnation cycle, how really there's no such thing as a reincarnation cycle. The archons totally control this place. They're totally controlling you, and really you are just here to be a food source for them, to be a food source energetically for the reptilians, and you don't have any merit or any kind of soul path. You were just forced to come here by those archons. You were forced to be here. You were a victim to it. You have no choice. Okay, then why are people awakening? No, we do have a choice. We're not victims to anything. This wasn't set up so that we are doomed to fail. It can seem like that sometimes because of how negative and how lacking this place can seem to us. That's the illusion of it, but it isn't our reality.
It would break you free from every reptilian idea. And every lie you have been fed. It is your thought forms, the voices within you, that are not you. Because if you're alone with yourself, you will realize the ways in which you are programmed. And your programs will no longer gain energy from you.
And the thing about people getting more and more to a plant-based diet, as a for instance, or the other things I was saying, becoming more spiritually present and meditating more, and all these types of experiences that people are opening up to, and people are going within more. The thing about that is, what does that cause? It causes more clarity. It's not that we are stuck in our problems. It's not that we're stuck under the government. It's not that we're stuck under these entities, the reptilian race, all these different entities. And we do believe in the reptilian race. We do believe that they are sending negativity out to control the planet. We do believe that. The council teaches that. But people are awakening. You can unplug. You can unplug from the matrix. You don't have to be stuck in it.
Seek to bring this place back to the vibrational level of your real home. Change the blueprints. Wake up.
They can see clearly how to fix them. They will gain clarity over how to fix the problems. That's all it is. It's just right now we aren't clear on what is the exact solution to overthrow these kinds of governments that are controlling people in a negative way, for instance.
So really the way to fix any problem is to first fix yourself, as everyone says. Be the change you want to see. So it's really just about clearing yourself, and as you clear, you can then clear what is around you. Simple as that. The key to clarity, as we know today, one of the most famous spiritual teachings out there is let go. Why? Why is it about letting go? Because when you let go, you feel lighter. When you're holding on to something, you feel heavier. It's holding you down. It's holding you in the sludge, right? So ultimately, really, it is just about letting go. Letting go of all these false programmings. Letting go of all these false identities of who you think you are, of what you think you should do. When you let go of all this falseness, all that will be left is realness.
Your truest, most untouched self. A place, a self that no belief has ever touched, that no negative experience has ever affected. Your reality self. And in this reality, all things are possible.
And the only reason why we have this desire to hold on to so much is because we don't realize what we are, we don't realize who we are. If we realized that we still had everything we wanted, everything we need, if we realized we were still full, we would happily let go. So that's really what needs to be getting in touch with here. People need to get in touch with, why am I holding on to this? Is this really making me feel more full? Really? Or is it actually just making me feel more empty? Really? And ultimately all emptiness is an illusion. But when you take in something, when you take in a false high that appears like a real high, you will only feel low. And the only reason that we take in all these false highs is because we don't realize where the true high is. The true high is within. All these false highs are outside of us. That's the challenge. Will you keep looking outside of you, or will you finally just peek within? If you do, you will realize, okay, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. As you do that, you feel like I have this, I have this, I have this. That's really the key. Your reality has to overwhelm the outside, not the other way around.
The reality is subtle, and it is quiet. It will only be heard by you when you yourself are quiet. But to hear the one true voice would be the same as hearing a faint wind in the middle of a music concert. You would have to look harder than you've ever looked. You would have to listen harder than you've ever listened. And in this case, you would have to go within. Look within. Remember that you are the divine and immortal light, and that you shine through all negativity. Remember to follow your own guidance and intuition. Stand up for yourself and be honest, but in a loving way.
Thank you very much for watching. Namaste.
Namaste.
Allowance. Then manifestation. The male energy as manifestation. And what seemed to be the most powerful force, yet is not. But it would be good for all men on earth to begin to hold that opinion. Because they believe that great physical strength is more powerful than inner strength. It is not. In fact, to me, it takes more strength to bite your tongue than it does to argue, and it takes more strength to be vulnerable than to be closed off. It takes more strength to forgive than to be angry. It takes more strength to show emotions than to show force. It takes more strength in a world that teaches you the outward appearance of strength. Let's talk about allowing. What is allowing? I will tell you. The one word that would best describe the feminine power that causes the manifestation or male energy to have what it needs to create is allowance. The male energy that creates is manifestation, but the female energy that creates is allowance. We must learn the art of allowance to cause manifestation. First, allowance, then manifestation. But it is that state that gives us the power to create anything. And if we are not allowing, we are never able to find our true strength. Because we are never going to be allowing of our own selves either. You cannot close off one thing without closing off every other. We are all connected. It is not by pushing something away that it ceases to come closer to you. In fact, that will only bring it to you more quickly, because the act of resisting requires so much force. And the force you are putting out trying to push something away will only end up bringing that thing to you more. Whereas if you're putting out great force in a negative way to bring something positive to you, it will stay away, because you will not be on the right frequency to allow it into manifestation. We have to learn to look within and not without. We have to learn that physical strength cannot be valued above inner strength. The voice of truth knows when to speak and when to allow another to speak. Allowing another to show their strength makes you strong. Allowing another to express emotions in front of you makes you more open, and that makes you strong. When we are using this creation force of allowing, then we can out of that state manifest whatever we have desired from within. this work of this couple immortality process is such a masterpiece. You really see how sharp it is analyzing, it is catching all the streams, all the evolution, what is really happening globally in consciousness. And it is showing up more and more, and I see it in my reality now that I switched really seriously into Breatharianism. I see more and more people popping up just out of the middle of nowhere. Several friends in Facebook and YouTube, Marco Hümer, about light nutrition. Another one is at day 60 and now goes into dry fasting. It resonates with you, and so I see that all possibilities of parallel realities are just now, as I change, my world around me changes as well, and you are part of my world, and so you just can be happy that it happens, because many of us, you can even just do really a long time. You can also stay a long time still on food and just get higher and higher, and then it will be so easy for you to switch suddenly into eating nothing anymore, because the frequency of the whole humanity shifted. This is what we now draw into our experience, and these different stories will manifest. And I also found this epic video that we saw now so great to really realize that even so many great teachers of the New Age stepped into this muddy thing to still point to negative, powerful entities that would be bad, that would be dark, that would control Archons and Illuminati and the 1% and the Dark Brotherhood, and the really final last step for consciousness is to realize this is what we for a long time held within us as a frequency, therefore we experienced it. Of course, it is proven. But it is not real, it is illusion. This is what you get to feel now so deeply when you just draw back alone into nature. Everything is in balance, in perfect harmony. Even if it's just a small spot where it is in harmony, it is, and you realize that really these are all programmings, and it is now, we should really not think that now the 5G net is coming and they are planning the next. We should, like Capca in this video, hacking self-worth. It is so enthusiastic and great empowering to watch, because he started watching things from the perspective where it already happened constantly in every area of his life. And we have to do this with the big as well as the small things. With the big things, that we have to really know that there will no more be any third world war or something like this. There will be no more big terrorist things. There will be no more. We're over it. This is the last years where we are. These will be party years. These will be years of joy, where we connect, where we go to, for example, the Prana Festival, the rainbow gatherings, where we connect in nature, where we find the community spots, the light islands, where you can live just free without having to work for money, where it is a solidary system. And we really have to get rid of the belief in aging and death. Some time ago it was not yet the time to speak about this in public, because too much doubts. But now it is getting bigger and bigger. They had to tell, because they were guided to this, that they have to go public with these messages. And I'm also remembered what I read long ago, that they were making studies with many animal sorts, and when they gave them half the amount to eat, then the animals lived twice as long. So it is that we only die and degenerate because of how we use our body. It is a kind of putting so much stuff to our digestive system, to our organs, what they have to deal with, that it degenerates. Whereas when we stop to abuse our bodies, then we enter a much more lighter state, which has the possibility, if it resonates with your deepest self, it cannot be something that someone tells you. You have to hear and feel it in yourself. But then it is really possible to be immortal, to not anymore die or forget or anything what we experienced on this physical plane. It is really just our subconscious that shows us these deep-rooted beliefs that are not our beliefs, but that were taught to us. And I'm really looking so much forward to also tell my children really seriously that they had been told that they have to die, and that this is not true. And this is what one gets to know, or what I get to know very deeply through my years' experience in ayahuasca, in these shamanic meditative realms, where you experience that your frequency rises and rises. It is your inner DMT dome, and you are this dome, and it is filled up with life of highest frequency, and it is so astounding. And it is not just you seeing it, every cell of you is then in this highest frequency goddess state, in this highest frequency goddess light. And you then get to realize that what we experience here is really frequency zero. We are like in a blasphemic coffee left over. And the absolute purpose and meaning of life is to rise the frequency. Because with this, all problems and all worst things really fade away. This is what it is all about. And I realized that this would not have been possible if my nutrition was not adapted by me years ago, that I got already years ago lighter and just raw food the last years and very little and less. And also every winter I went into fasting, into long fasting for long. And also this winter I started in December with fasting. I had 1 week in between where I eat something. And now since mid-January I'm again in absolute fasting. And I even since 1.5 weeks now do something very great. I do dry fasting every day until the late evening, because it's so easy and it makes it so much easier to not get into these consume cravings of maybe I could, if I would start in the morning with drinking water and tea, then I would for sure over the day drink a little bit of apple juice and have a spoon of honey, and I don't need this anymore. So I trick myself, and so it is whole day so great. This is when you hit it. You don't feel hungry or thirsty, you just feel great. And one correlation that is very helpful for me to stay away from food or to let it fade out more and more is to see it as getting stopped from being breastfeeded. Like when I had children, I breastfeeded them, and there is the point. And the point comes normally that the children decides it, the baby decides it, that it does not need this anymore. And it's the same thing to get not anymore breastfeeded, yes. Und auch gibt es dann immer bei mir den Spruch, ja, brauchst du gar nicht dran denken, was zu essen, das bringt dir eh nichts, bist der Eimer mit Loch. Die Menschen sind doch eher Eimer mit Loch. Weil, ne, genau das ist es. Das ist dieser Teufelskreis, in dem man kommt, wo es nie aufhört. Anstatt dass man einfach zufrieden ist. Es ist wirklich das Ziel, dass man jeden Tag in die Schwingungsfrequenz kommt und dann hast du es geschafft. Von der aus du im angeregten Zustand bist. Wie die Schwingungen bei den Atomen in der Physik. Ja. And also you can really profit from this shift that is happening. It is an exponential evolution that is happening. And this is characteristically that you do not see, that it goes so fast in the end, that you literally got hit by it when it then switches. You cannot see what the doubling exponentially really, and this is what is now happening, this consciousness of freedom, of unlimitation, of we are no longer victims to anything. This will now spread exponentially. These last years now, we will completely see other, it is not also that we have to clean up things, and we see then different, we can switch in a reality, for example, where there never had been this industrial age and all this trash and plastic problem and all this. We can then evolve so far, and this is what my mission is, to open up, to allow this process of recreating in a big flash, where we are now for a time that is out of time and space, where we are not longer bound to our perception in this three-dimensional reality. And then this will also be connected to a pole shift. It is already, the Earth is already ready to trigger it, and she is just waiting for us, because we are the masters, and for us to unleash it when the time is ripe, when it is time to do it. Yeah. What now follows is a preview to an expanding chapter in itself. Parallel realities, Salvia, the Mandela-Effect, and the recursive creation of being. Especially the Mandela-Effect, shifting timelines, and its meaning for awakening hit me deep. About this may be an extra video created. Here comes the first preview about these topics. Spontaneous recorded. All this goes much deeper and is more crass than can be hinted here. Details follow when the time has come. Yeah, and one can also say that there is no sooner and no later. It is all in the now. And it is like with a function when you're programming, there are recursive functions. Here comes a snippet from the epic work of KK84 called DMT-Bible. I already audiobooked it in German, and it is right now in the process of being translated to English. The work DMT-Bible and Salvia Bible, so sooner or later you will find it on LucidDream homepage. It is really precious. And KK84 is shortcut for, in German it's Kleiner Kiffer 84, so it means small smokehead or something similar. It's an acronym that he uses for years in forums of entheobotanic and psychedelics to explore and do science on these magic plants. Here I quote a snippet that is about the recursive creation of being. Nevertheless, everything was so strangely familiar, because this thing came to a certain extent out of me. In closer inspection, the spiral consisted of countless small triangles, and each of these triangles consisted of triangles again. These were fractals that continued infinitely in the spiral. I had the impression that each of these fractals was a kind of copy of my existence that I could be if I wasn't this one concrete manifestation of KK84 sitting here, tripping on DMT. More precisely, all other possible parallel existences and copies exist in this spiral also in a certain way, but not in this congealed zero-frequency manifestation of our world, but somewhat higher in the dome on higher frequencies. It seemed to me as if I had chosen myself, that exactly these and those triangles are formed to my ego and exist in the earthly world.
Dabei muss diese Entscheidung getroffen
This
worden sein,
decision
bevor
must
ich
have
als
been made
KK-84
before I
in die
came
Welt
into
kam.
the world as
Das
KK-84.
erinnerte mich an eine rekursive
This
Funktion
reminded
beim
me of a
Programmieren, die
recursive
sich selber
function in
aufruft.
programming that recalls itself again and again. Note, interestingly, that's what physicist Gabi Müller does with x to the power of x. The LucidDream chapter, which is referred to in the LucidDream chapter that is not yet audiobooked, Viva Vortex. If she calculates the equation x to the power of x recursively, then fractal images are created. She calls it films into the laboratory of God. And these fractal images, interestingly enough, depict the human skull bone one-to-one, human organs, and also butterflies, caterpillars. A whole universe of life forms emerges in her images by simply calculating x to the power of x and complex conjugating them. This means putting the result of the equation again into the same equation to recalculate it and reinsert it again to merge. This is a closed cycle in itself and creates a vortex. Exactly that is what KK-84 describes here. And the interesting thing about the pictures by Gabi Müller is that you exactly recognize the Salvia Divinorum zipper. You exactly recognize in these pictures how reality stacks and layers multidimensional. When you experience the Salvia zipper, it originates exactly from the middle of the skull perspective. And that's exactly what she is depicted with x to the power of x. And further in the text here he writes, I myself cause through my being that I consist of special fragments of the spiral, but it could also have been others. All possible copies of myself exist in a higher frequency level and can be activated at any time. Now the effect increased again considerably, and the ego, which was
des Egos auf der höheren Frequenz nicht einfach ein chaotischer Frequenzschaum, sondern vielmehr bestand mein in den Dom nach oben gleitendes Ego nun aus perfekten geometrischen Mandalas und Fraktalen, die ihrerseits aber aus diesem Hochfrequenz.
The human body was still sitting at the earthly place, and was aware that it is tripping on DMT. But the aggregate state of the ego at the higher frequency is not simply a chaotic frequency form. Rather, my ego gliding upwards into the DMT dome now consisted of perfect geometric mandalas and fractals. These themselves consisted of this high frequency something, and at the same time were fused with all being around. That was an absolutely overwhelming feeling, which made me realize again that everything is one. I am a part of the DMT dome, and I'm seamlessly integrated into it. But also, the dome is in principle me. Now I was suddenly in the upper spheres of the dome, and this moment was breathtaking in the truest sense of the word. I noticed that I, my ego, was one with God, but that I myself am a part of God, and this seamlessly. I am God, everything is God, the dome is God, the ceiling of the dome is the most perfect form of being. God, if you like. From it, all the low-frequency concrete forms and beings emerge underneath. All these points and fractals on the wall of the dome are possible manifestations of myself. And I came up with an analogy, as if it were a magnifying glass that focuses the light of the sun on a focal point. I was bundled from the divine light, from the higher spheres of the dome, onto the ground, and manifested myself there in the form I am now. But I did that myself. I created myself. I dissociated myself from the divine light and brought a concrete form into the material world at the bottom of the dome with frequency 0. But I could also have chosen other frequencies. Then I would exist in another form. But I myself wanted it that way. I created myself, like a recursive function in programming that executes itself again and again. I am a part of God. Everything is God. The upper sphere of the dome is the beginning and the end of all being. Being right now only refers to the zero frequency bottom of the dome, which we know as reality. But when one again enters the highest frequency form of existence, there is no beginning and no end, only the pure being in the infinite divine light, in which there is no time or other physical limit, as we know it from the lower spheres. I explicitly use the word being because life does not necessarily have to be bound purely to something physical or material. This is a knowledge I already gained on my first DMT journeys. To be more precise, only at the bottom of the dome at frequency 0, life is necessarily bound to a physical body. Already minimal above us, the being has another form. Man searches for extraterrestrial life, which like ours has a physical body. Meanwhile it is swarming with forms of existence he had never perceived before, because he didn't adjust his senses to this oscillation frequency. Like radio waves that cannot be seen because they lay outside of the light spectrum the eyes can receive. These triangular facets are always there. Just in the normal state, they are united to a singularity. Note, singularity means minimal 0-point space. Only if one comes in contact with DMT, they are folded out like a fan or like the feathers of a peacock, so that they appear as a formation around you, and they are so familiar and yet so bizarrely strange. Finally, I have to add a graphic which illustrates the core statement of the trip quite well, which I would call the recursion of being. The quintessence of this graphic is that it is a closed cycle. The cycle of being which suddenly becomes visible and tangible through DMT and remained hidden before. Because one finds oneself in an everyday life that seems to be proven as the only permanent one. Analogous to this cycle, one can best visualize it as one knows it from the cycle of the weather. It rains, the water evaporates, descends to the sky, it rains again, and so on. The same happens to one's own being in the course of incarnation cycles, or in time-lapse within the course of a DMT trip. In everyday life, in which one knows no other forms of existence and aggregate states, one is, so to speak, always the raindrop on the ground. If one now rises the frequency of oscillation, for example the aggregate state, and at the same time, as an observer, takes a step back in order to recognize the entire forest in front of the trees, it becomes clear that one is in a cycle of being, in which one can evaporate like water and rain down again. I am all that myself, but in a different form of existence, in a different state of aggregation. The clouds are partly me, because they consist of evaporated water, just like me. At the same time, the clouds are also all other evaporated raindrops, which again leads to the résumé that everything is one. That means a function that is the result will be taken and will be again put into the same function and then will be calculated again, and the result again goes into the same function. This is how you can, when you do this with fractals, with sacred geometry combined, then what you get is the growth of organic things, of trees, of these forms that we have in nature. All in nature grows according these fractal, these Mandelbulb, these great pictures that we know. These are all recursive functions. And the same it is with our life, with our birth, and with the moment you realize it. In the moment you realize it, and when you have a breakthrough, a real soul breakthrough, then you realize how from this point on you created yourself and the past and the happenings backwardly, that it makes sense. It is not the other way around, that it is even not that you have been born into a world that was already there. Now listen to this. This is how I perceive it. That from my perspective, one can also say that all is an illusion. That means this would be a white room if there wasn't the illusion through the light in the middle that creates a projection of each that is on the inner walls. So is all what you see and experience a self-created illusioned projection. You are created within my theater, and I am created within your theater. But this goes even further, and for me it feels like there is no history. At the moment of my birth, I was before completely only spirit, and then I was born, and with this moment of birth I created my parents, my grandparents, their houses, the society around, and all the history and all the stories, to create language, to create meaning in a form that we can grasp it. But there was nothing before. So from my point of view, it is really this psychedelic. It is like a trip. Life is like a trip. You created it from the moment you began to get into a body, and with this you click backward in time, create all these things, and then we have all the explanations why things over million and million years evoluted and all this thing. But you can also see it from a complete different perspective of really creation in every moment that happens backwardly and forwardly, and that all times also happen simultaneously. No. This is what you can see and experience one-to-one in Salvia Divinorum, where you see thousands of book pages, literally, with your past, with future, with parallel realities, with all these, and also the Mandela-Effect gets very well explained with it. The Mandela-Effect is the butterfly effect, that we have different historic timelines that can be proven, that it went like this and it went like this. It is called Mandela-Effect because you can find proofs that Mandela died in while he was in prison, and you can find proofs that he died afterwards. And there are many, when you Google Mandela-Effect, there are many videos. In the end, it is irrelevant. It is leading all to one point, that there are parallel lines of history that are all the time there. In fact, every possible outcome of how things could be in the past or in the future are happening right now. There are realities where you have more brothers and sisters. There are realities where you did not marry. Everything you can think about exists as a parallel reality. And this is why Salvia Divinorum is one of the, if not the most sacred plant and body-own neurotransmitter as well, because it is showing you the relativity of all what we believed is real, and also how you can transform to this goddess entity to really be everything, be all that is. Yeah. So here just a hint. As I said, this is already, when you go into LucidDream audiobooks, I wrote already about it. It's already finished, and it is really a tip to realize here the connections. It is all so connected to science, to every puzzle pieces that we needed in our language. In the end, it is all about language, about finding meaning. Yeah. This is where evolution goes, as one connected morphogenetic organism, and we really can be looking forward for this, because this really means to realize that we are given the gifts of the gods, and there are no boundaries, and we are immortal, and we can create anything we like. We can do everything, and we have not in this physical dimension, we have no idea what we else can do instead of traveling around and meeting people and making love and all. This is really nothing. This is bullshit in comparison to what we can experience in higher frequent realms of life. You really lose every kind of interest in looking for things outside of you, especially sexual things, when you get in this high state of what a hyperdimensional orgasm is about. Das will Leben ja erforschen, das will seine eigenen Grenzen, Gott will seine eigene Evolution herausfordern. Hm? Gott mag keine einfachen Aufgaben. Ja, Gott will nur eine wirkliche Herausforderung, genauso ist es. Weil nur durch die größten Hürden lernen wir. Dass wir uns die Hürden selber gestellt haben. I have more things to transport before I then will be silent for a longer time. So I see I have to make here an additional after hour part or something, where it is some more things, but it would now be 2 hours or 2.5 hours if I edit here. So we make here a nice fade out. Thanks for watching the third part of Mind Over Matter. Thanks for staying with it, and looking forward to see you in the final afterlude, after hour part extension, where I can place, because then I don't need to cut it so heavily, so hard, so short, and there are many things that you cannot cut out this, please tell it, and so it just is so great to share these deep resonating things that are free and that are sind wir Licht, innen wie außen sind wir